Okay, enough's enough. I can't take it anymore. It's time. I've kept my mouth shut long enough. Playoff time, baby. Final four. Here we go. If you were the one who thought that Dallas had a chance to beat San Francisco, you were wrong. I did not think they could win that game. I've kept my mouth shut long enough. I've tried to be professional. I've tried to be courteous. I've tried to be open-minded at what the heck is going on in Big D. But enough is enough, people. They've got to move on at the quarterback position. They've got to move on at the running back position. I'm going to talk the divisional round, and then we're going to preview the AFC and NFC championships. And I got a little bit of an attitude because it was Cowboys, it was Niners, and it was really what we thought it could be. I knew all along it was going to be a defensive game. Low scoring. I didn't expect it to get much past the 20s. I got that right. I thought it would be a little closer. I thought Dallas would cover the spread at least. Didn't really think they were going to win. Didn't think they had the better team. And I'm going to go ahead and say this out loud. January 24th. Didn't think they had the better quarterback. And that's coming from the dead last pick in the draft. A third-string quarterback outplayed Dak Prescott. Last week was not a fluke. It was just Dallas was playing a dead fish. Tampa had no life. They were done. That team was embarrassing. They should be embarrassed. Tampa should be embarrassed that they made the playoffs because they won their division. Terrible, terrible showing from a playoff division winner. Knew going in, Dallas was going to have a problem with San Francisco. Whole different ball of wax. Sincerely thought it was going to be a defensive struggle, which I was right. San Fran, best defense in the NFL. They got playmakers everywhere. McCaffrey, Samuel, and their defense is loaded from the front to the middle to the back end. Brock Purdy is playing at a large, high level because of the system he's in. I want to call him a game manager. I do right now, but I also want to think that this should be his job going into next year. Because what have we seen? We've seen him not lose. Garoppolo struggled. They didn't want no part of Garoppolo. It was going to be Trey Lance. Trey Lance didn't look fantastic when he was running the show. Then he gets hurt, out for the season. Then you got your third string quarterback, rookie, dead last pick in the draft. Comes in, plays just fine for the last however many games it's been. I don't know if he's undefeated. I think somewhere I read he was. I'm not sure. Something tells me he was like 7-0 or 8-0, which is crazy. But he's got the best defense to back him up. He doesn't have to be Steve Young or Joe Montana. He just has to be good and not make mistakes. And guess what? He hasn't. Where Dak has. He was outplayed. I put a little piece on my podcast page earlier from Colin Cowherd. 2 weeks ago, Dak got outplayed by yet another rookie, making his NFL debut, I think, and Sam Howell. Washington beat the crap out of Dallas. I said on my podcast page and also on Twitter, I would love to go on and have a 20-minute Dak bashing session. Well, I'm not going to make it 20 minutes. I'm going to make it about another 3 or 4, and then I'm moving on to other games that we've seen over the weekend. But enough's enough. We've seen what we need to see for years. If you go back to the Tony Romo era, and I know, you're going to say, here you go with your Tony Romo love. I was a Tony Romo guy, still am. Still think he does a fantastic job in the booth. Wish that he had another year or so of playing time in him, but apparently his body was just wore out, and, the powers that be were ready to move on to Dak Prescott. I'm not so sure that was the right move. Because if you go back and watch him in college, which I did, he wasn't spectacular. He was okay. Decently mobile. Good college quarterback. He comes in, and early on, I thought, okay, well, this guy, he could be pretty good. He fooled me year one. I was not going to be fooled again. I'm like, and here's how I knew. Here's how I knew that Dak was always going to be what we have right now. When they go up to Green Bay and beat the living daylights out of Green Bay in Lambeau, but turn right around in the playoffs and Green Bay comes to Dallas and handles them, it's because they got to look at what Dak could do and what Dak couldn't do. That right then, that game showed me, and this was several years ago, that showed me right there, okay, not enough people had enough Dak, not enough film of Dak yet, not enough, what can he do well, what can he do well? And I'm not going to talk about the interceptions throughout the course of the season because that'll make me throw things. The interceptions he made on Sunday against San Francisco, 2 of them. Could have been 3, but somebody dropped the one and he was going to run it in. The one he threw to the guy, it was a bad throw. Good pick, good play. Should have made the throw, forced it. Under pressure, made the throw, forced it. Interception. Okay, cost Dallas some points. The one where he threw it and it caromed off the dude, and I think Greenlaw caught it on the carom and returned it for some yards. Terrible throw. The guy whose face it bounced off of was a Niner. There was 2 Niners covering 1 Cowboys receiver. So if he didn't kick it off of his head, it was going to get picked off. Either way, it was getting picked off. And this is what we've seen from Dak. Not just over the past month or the past 8 games, but throughout his time in Dallas. He's got to go. He's got to go. And if you listen to me and you know where I come from, you know that I am for giving everybody a chance. I will say that this guy is way better of an athlete than I could ever have thought about being. He made it in the NFL. He got a truckload of money, and he's got more talent in his non-throwing hand than I've got in my entire body ever wished to have. So I don't judge people. But how long do I have to wait to see my team get over the hump? Is it going to take Jerry Jones passing away to relinquish some power to a coach? Everybody's saying, well, this wasn't on Mike McCarthy. Probably wasn't. Not this game. But there's been plenty of other games that were McCarthy's fault too. So, I mean, you can just start cutting. You can start firing people. I'm cool. Fire McCarthy. Fire Kellen Moore. Trade Zeke. Trade Dak for whatever you can get. Because at this point, their stock's dropping. Kellen Moore, stock dropping. Probably should have took a job last year if he was offered. Don't know if he was. It's bad days in Dallas, and it isn't going to get any better. Not that I can see anyway. Because this is what we're looking at. The defense played great. The defense for Dallas played great throughout the end of the season, throughout, well, say the game against Washington at the last game of the season. But they played great in the playoffs. They played great against Brady. They played good against San Francisco. The defense should be mad. The defense for Dallas, I got this in my notes. The defense should be mad. And from what I'm reading, they are. They played good enough to win. When you can only get in the end zone one time, and you get down there, and I know the field goal kicker, that's a whole other story I'm not getting into. But there's a lot of problems in Dallas, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care what their record was. I don't care what their record was. They weren't going to win. They were not going to win the championship this year. And anybody who thought they were is delusional. And I'm a Cowboy fan since I was old enough to hold a football. Okay? So I can say these things. Because I've been there. Day one to now. They were not going to win it. They just were not good enough. They were going to have to catch fire, get lucky, and make a run. And it just doesn't work out. They had to play a perfect game against San Francisco. They were going to have to get the turnovers. They were going to have to get strip sacks or whatever. Long third downs to force punts. They were going to have to play that game in order to sneak out that victory. And then worry about, okay, well, now we got to play Philly, and this time they got their quarterback healthy-ish. Weren't winning that game either, people. You think they're beating the Bengals this year, Dallas? No. No. Absolutely not. You think they're beating Mahomes? No, probably not. Wasn't going to happen. Bengals. Bills. What a great game that was if you're from Ohio and you're rooting for the Bengals to go back to the Super Bowl, who I am now on their wagon because the Cowboys' wagon is always broke. When the Bengals came out and hit Buffalo with the two-piece and got up 14-0, my cousin was over here watching the game. I said, Buffalo's in trouble. If they can't get it together right now and go down and get a score, they're in trouble. And then the Bengals almost went up 21, but that touchdown got called back there at the back of the end zone from Jamar Chase. It had been 21. Buffalo would have been sunk right then. They were able to get some point. They took a field goal. Buffalo was able to get a touchdown. It's respectable. Okay, they're still in it. But we get into the second half of that game, and this is what I was telling my cousin when he was here. Buffalo came out, got the ball first in the second half, and they played like they were in the lead. They played like they were up 17 points. Or 17-7, whatever it was. I can't remember. They chewed up half the quarter. Half the third quarter. The third quarter was 2 drives for the most part. 1 drive by Buffalo, 1 drive by Cincinnati. The Bengals were loving that. They were like, oh, wow, look at this. They're just taking their time, first down, small chunks of yardage, small chunks of yardage. The defense knew what to do. The defense knew how to slow down Josh Allen. In Buffalo, on snow, unfazed. The Bengals were prepared. The Bengals were ready to play. Buffalo wasn't. Buffalo ate the whole half of the third quarter. The Bengals ate the other half. Game's over. You're not going to have enough possessions in the fourth quarter to come back and win. The math doesn't add up right there. So when it got to be the fourth quarter, we're down to like 12 minutes. I said, the game's over. I was like, I don't care what Buffalo does miraculously. There's not enough math to say we got enough time left in this game. The 3 scores were down, not enough time, because the Bengals weren't allowing them to do what they needed to do to have big explosive plays. I mean, all the credit in the world right now. All the credit in the world to the Cincinnati Bengals. And if you are of those that say Patrick Mahomes is your number 1 quarterback in the NFL, and there are a ton of people that say that, okay? There are. I don't know that I believe that, but if you are one of those or you agree with the ones that say Mahomes is number one in the NFL, then you've got to put Joe Burrow number two. You've got to. To me, Burrow's the best quarterback in the NFL. Okay, now Mahomes does things that Burrow don't. Okay, the goofy plays, the side, the weird passes, the different arm angles, this and that, and everything. Yeah, you don't see Burrow doing that. Okay, Burrow's a little calm, cool, collected. Joe Cool, they call him. That's the reason why. Okay, he doesn't do the same things that Mahomes can do. They're different styles of quarterbacks, and it's day and night. But to me, it's Burrow right now. Burrow's the hottest quarterback in the NFL. I'm taking him over Hurts. I'm taking him over Mahomes, over Allen, over all the playoff team quarterbacks. So if you're dead set that Mahomes is number one, okay, then you got to put Burrow number two. Burrow jumps Allen. Burrow jumps Jalen Hurts. And to me, it's obvious. And I mean, it's close. Don't get me wrong, because all these quarterbacks are just extremely gifted. But this Bengals team is ready. They're playing inspired football. They bring their best on both sides of the ball every single game. And as long as you got Burrow at quarterback, you're going to be in the game. And the Bengals are a threat. And Kansas City already knows this. So my only concern with this week's game, and I'll get to that here in just a little bit, is don't be too confident from what you've already seen from the Chiefs. I'll get to that here in a minute. Philly and the Giants game, a little surprising to me. Was a little bit shocked at the outcome. Thought for a minute that the Giants could hang in there. Coming off the momentum of really handling Minnesota, I thought the Giants could make it a four-quarter game and make it interesting. So much, in fact, that I took them to cover the spread on one of my FanDuel bets, thinking they would cover. I took the points. I thought, well, that could be close. Well, I was wrong, and I lost $10. But after you've seen the way that the Giants handled Minnesota the week before, that lets us know just how bad Minnesota really was. Okay? So bad, in fact, that Dallas beat the daylights out of them. That tells you how bad they really were. Their record really was a lot better than their team was. And if all you have to do is figure out a way to shut Justin Jefferson down, which they did, you're going to struggle. Because now you've taken the game away from Dalvin Cook. This offense is no longer geared for the running game. So if you're taking away Justin Jefferson, then your next thing is, okay, take away Dalvin Cook, and the formula for beating the Vikings is easy. Cook's getting a little long in the tooth anyway. Those big, long 50 and 60-yard runs we used to see every 2 or 3 weeks, those are gone. So we figured out a way to shut down Jefferson. We stop Dalvin Cook, we win the game handily. Done. So I thought, well, if they can do that, okay. The running game to me in Philadelphia isn't spectacular. So if you can find a way to cover one of those two receivers that the Eagles have, because they got two really good ones, make them rely on the run game, or Jalen Hurts, who's beat up, maybe they can hang. I was wrong. The Giants got the crap kicked out of them. So it sets up for a really good NFC Championship game, which I will not be watching. Jacksonville, Kansas City, and I've said this on Twitter, I've said this on social media. This was a fantastic year for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I know there's no second-place trophies. I get that. But if you look how far they've come from just a year removed from the Urban Meyer just disgrace to where they're at now, a healthy Travis Etienne, who's going to be okay in this league, may have been wrong on that one. Jury's still out, in my opinion. Played very well, especially down the stretch. Those receivers that Lawrence has, if they can keep all of those guys coming back, Trevor Lawrence going to be in his third year. Trevor Lawrence is a superstar. That hurts my soul to say, after what I watched him do to Florida State over the years. But he's a young superstar, budding quarterback in this league. If you got him on your fantasy teams, do not sell him cheap. This team is going to be good. They got a lot of young studs on defense. Kind of puts you in mind of what they had back with Ramsey and Telvin Smith back there when there was the Saxonville teams. They got a little bit of swag, a little bit of chip on their shoulder. This game next year would have been a lot tighter, and it was a good game for the most part. I mean, at least Jacksonville didn't get embarrassed. But I think we all knew going in, better team, 4-quarter game. In the end, I think the Chiefs always were going to be the winners in that game. It was going to take everything going right for Jacksonville to make it out of there. Either way, they're not getting past the Bengals. So, love what I'm seeing for Jacksonville in the future. Next year, Jacksonville's team should not sneak up on anybody. They should not be off of anybody's radar. Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, even the old man Jones with Zay Jones. They got some stuff. Travis Etienne in the backfield, a hungry defense, offensive line's getting better. Look out for Jacksonville next year. They're going to make some noise, and they're going to be a team it's not a joke anymore. They were just a little year early. Loved their run, and they should be happy with that. I know they're not, but they should look back and say, hey, this was a great first step, and we're coming back next year. On to the championship games. We've got Cincinnati, Kansas City. We got Philadelphia against San Francisco. And I'm going to talk to NFC first because I will not be watching this game because I detest both teams. So I'm only going to watch one game this weekend. That'll be the AFC game, which is the nightcap, if I remember right. San Fran, you got the immovable object meeting the irresistible force with Philly's offense. Now, Philly's defense isn't nothing to forget about. They're good as well. It's going to be interesting to me to see what they do with Jalen Hurts, how they can contain him, and if they can lock down both of those wide receivers or one of them, make them run the ball, and if that's the case, if they get into that, it's going to play into San Francisco's hands. And they're going to have it. It's going to be their game to lose. For San Francisco, it's just going to be the same thing. It's the same as it's been throughout the course of the last month or so of the season and their run through the playoffs. Brock Purdy, do your job, make good decisions, no mistakes. Lean on McCaffrey, lean on Deebo Samuel, lean on your defense. You make one turnover or less in this game, you're probably winning. San Fran. One turnover or less in this game, you're probably going to win. It's not going to take a perfect game for Philly to win because Philly's a good football team. They weren't the number one seed, just for a fluke. They're good, and Jalen Hurts is healthy. It's going to be a great game. I just won't watch it because, why would I? It's terrible. It's horrible. Nasty game. I think in the end, I don't even know who I could say was going to win this game. I could really see either team winning. Whereas before, with about every game, it's like, I think this team's going to win. I think this team's going to win. I thought Buffalo would play Cincinnati tougher. I really thought Cincinnati was the better team and could win that game, but I thought it was going to be a dogfight down to the last minute. But I thought Cincinnati could pull it out. Maybe that's the homer in me from being from Ohio, but I really thought they could. But other than that, it's been a pretty clear cut. When I see these teams playing, I think X team's going to win. Well, in this one, I'm not sure. I could really see Philly winning because they're that good, and I can also see San Francisco winning because they're that good. I think San Fran's got a little bit of edge in a running game, although Miles Sanders is kind of playing a little healthier. I still like McCaffrey. I like the Deebo 1-2 punch out of the backfield. That's a lot going on. George Kittle's a problem at tight end. So I guess maybe I'm thinking San Francisco wins this game, and it probably represents the NFC. Probably. AFC Championship game, I think it starts at 6. It's the nightcap. Bengals, Chiefs. This should be must. This is going to be must-see TV. Can the Bengals do it again? Can the Bengals beat Mahomes again? Can Burrow do it again? And what I said earlier, they can. They've got everything they need to do it. And everybody's, Patrick Mahomes is all gimpy. He got a bad ankle. I don't want to hear that crap. He's going to play. He's going to play. He didn't want to go out and get an MR, get an X-ray or whatever the other day. He's on the field shaking his head no, emphatically. No, I'm not doing it. No. High ankle sprain. He's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Now, maybe he gets roughed up a little bit. Maybe he doesn't play the whole game. But you don't have a bad backup in Chad Henne. Henne came right down the field, threw a touchdown, looked like he'd been starting the game and playing for 10 years as a starter in this league. They got a very good backup in Chad Henne. So you lose Mahomes, sure, but it's not like you're rolling out Babe Laufenberg as your backup quarterback. And as far as Babe Laufenberg goes, I take Babe Laufenberg over Dak Prescott right now. Just saying. The Bengals, to me, I don't believe in teams of destiny. I believe that teams want it. They're built for it. It's their time. And that their will see them win this game. Now, I say that, and they won't, and it'll be, sad times here in Ohio, but I think they can win. They want to win. They desire to win, and I think they may want to win more. They may just want it a little bit more. And that game's going to come down to who wants it more. Actually, both games. Both games this weekend will come down to who wants it more. Who wants it in that fourth quarter? Because the Bengals aren't going to blow out Kansas City. And even if they are, you get down 14 points and you're Mahomes, that ain't no sweat. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great semifinal weekend to see who represents the AFC and NFC in the Super Bowl. Sadly, the NFC teams, to me, are crap. So I'm rooting AFC all the way, even into the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter if it's the Chiefs. I'll be rooting for the AFC this year. Just because the NFC teams, to me, irrelevant. But we're getting down to it, people. We're getting down to it. It's been fun. Hope you like that. Short, sweet, half-hour podcast talking about the divisional playoffs. Now we're going to the championship. My name is Chris Croswell. You can find me on Twitter at CGAPBlitz. You can find the show wherever you find podcasts. I'm all over the place. Have a great week. Check me out all over the place. Fantasy football is never dead. Your dynasty leagues, they're not dead. It's time to transition. Take a little break like I am, and we're starting to roll again in February. Have a great week. See you next time on The Blitz.